Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm trying to mark people as they come in. We got Taylor Moore, Miss Hatmaker. Reparo. Richards. Watlington. Brown. Cole. Trenton Brown. Who's CJ? CJ's iPhone. Who's he's connected? Make sure I get everybody. Tia Williams, I got you. Got Miss Downs, got you. Perez is coming in now. I just added you to the roll, Miss Perez. Todd Ford is here. Who's CJ? It says Clarence Washington. I think it is. All right. Is that Aaron Orr? I think there's only one Aaron in this class. Let me make sure.
Yes, this is Aaron Orr. Hi.
I got you. And I want to say CJ is Clarence Washington. I just want to make sure. I think it is. All righty. I think I got everyone. I was trying to mark y'all down as y'all checked in. Bria Pearson is checking in. Brandon, no last name. Is that Brandon Merritt that checked in? Oh, he's still trying to check in. Hold up. Must be Brandon. Pearson and Brandon Merritt. Is that Brandon Merritt?
Yes.
Got you. Okay. All right. A few short, but we're gonna get started. All right, so we got 17 checked in now. Make sure I got it. 16 checked in. Yeah, so we're good. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Some of y'all probably zooming me from the cookout on that burger. I'm trying to get on the burger too. So we're gonna get this done. Okay. So what are we talking about tonight? Chapters 3 and 4. Did everyone understand the lecture that I posted? Everything understood? Any questions before I start talking a little bit again? All right. Don't everybody speak at the same time. Say something, somebody. Somebody. Aaron Orr, you talk to me. Let me unmute y'all. I think I gotta unmute y'all. All right. So did everyone understand the lectures and the reading from chapter 3 and chapter 4?
Yeah, my bad.
Yes.
I thought I was
I
talking. I thought you could hear me.
I think I had y'all muted. I had to unmute everybody. Okay, so just to reiterate it again, that I know I also posted the sentencing charts. You guys get to North Carolina. I think I sent you guys the felony and misdemeanor sentencing chart to talk about structured sentencing and determinate and indeterminate sentencing.
Yeah.
Okay. Tiki Brown is here. So yeah, but that's just to give you an understanding of the difference between determinate and indeterminate sentencing. So in North Carolina, our misdemeanor sentencing is more determinate. I would say that it's determinate. Make sure I got this person. Hold up. Is that Jalen Chambers just checked in?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. But in North Carolina, our misdemeanor sentencing is determinate, meaning, of course, that there's not a minimum and a maximum. You just get those days. So, you got a range of days you can get, but you get those days. So, like for class 1, I think it was like anywhere between 1 day and 20 days in custody is the max you can get. So, that when you get sentenced in district court for a misdemeanor, it's going to be days, and that's it. So if you can count, if you get 50 days, if you can count to 50 on that 50th day, they're checking you out of there. Now with felony sentencing, it's indeterminate. So there's like a minimum and a maximum. So there's a rank, you get sentenced in a range. So in North Carolina now, the way they do it now in North Carolina, so let's say if you get a 10-month minimum, your maximum would be 12 months, but you add 9 months to the 12 because you get 9 months of post-release supervision. So it would read 10 to 21 months. So but it's actually 10 to 12 when you get out. Whenever you get out between that 10 and 12 months, you have 9 months hanging over your head on post-release probation or supervision. So that's how that goes. So, and the way it works is you start off with your maximum and you have to work your way down to your minimum. But a lot of that depends on overcrowding and whether or not the jail is trying to process people up out of there. So a lot of times people will just do their minimum and they get up out of there. Sometimes people might, like I had a client recently. He'd already been in jail waiting on his case anyway before he had to go to prison. So he already had enough time between when he got served on his case. He had been in and out of jail on the case because he missed court or something like that. So he had acquired a good number of months. So by the time it was time for him to be sent off and sentenced to in DAC, Department of Adult Corrections, he had already pretty much served his time. So he was pretty much going there for them to process him right back out. So in certain situations, I think he had pretty much did a little bit more than the minimum. But if he walks in like that, they're probably just going to turn him around. So that's how that works. So we understand sentencing. I know that Chapter 3 also talked about the reasons for sentencing, talked about retribution or just desserts, talked about rehabilitation. Of course, there's restitution, of course, making the victim whole. Sometimes with rehabilitation, it can also be making the defendant whole as well, or the convict whole, because a lot of times people don't necessarily commit crimes because they're bad people, but they are decent people or good people in bad situations. So, we can all talk about what we won't do and what we'll never do, but until you've been hungry, until you've had to decide, well, should I eat this burger that's been in this trash can for a day or two, or should I hit this woman over the head? Until you've been in that situation, it's hard to kind of make a decision on that. So I like to not necessarily just stand in judgment of people. But so that's Chapter 3. Chapter 4, we talked about the actus reus, which is very important because every crime is going to have an actus reus. The sun. Every crime may not necessarily have a mens rea, in which we'll learn about later on in the future chapter, but every crime is going to have an actus reus. Crimes are generally made up of an actus reus and a mens reus The actus rea is the criminal act. That means it's either the criminal act or culpable omission. When we talk about culpability, we talk about essentially guilt or criminal responsibility. So when we say culpable, that means culpable omission means a guilty omission. Omission means to not do something that you're supposed to do. So if you have a duty to act in a certain situation and you purposely fail to act, and you do it on purpose to, essentially to cause a danger. So if you're a lifeguard, and I use this example, if you're a lifeguard, you essentially have a duty as an employee, or pretty much a contractual duty to, hold on, I think my internet's unstable. Hold up. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's saying my internet's unstable. Let me switch over. It's on this 5G. All right. Okay. So, so if you are a lifeguard and you decide you're watching someone drown and you decide not to go in to save them, that is an omission or culpable omission. So, with crime, for it to be an actus reus, it's either got to be a voluntary action, or I guess voluntary, for lack of a better word, meaning you mean to do it. Your body is moving on its own volition, or a culpable omission. So either you did something, you took an action, or you failed to act in a situation where you were supposed to act. So that is actus reus. So every crime has that. Every crime either is going to have an act or a culpable omission. Now there are, and then of course, normally with most crimes, they also are coupled with a mental state or a mens rea. So it's not just that you do something, but you do something with a mental state. Either you do it on purpose or intentionally, you do it knowingly, you do it recklessly, or you do it negligently. But you have those mens reas. There's certain crimes that do not require, even though they all crimes require that an act be taken or an omission, all crimes do not require a mens rea. There's some crimes that essentially just the act itself is enough for you to be held criminally responsible and be punished. And those are what we call strict liability offenses. But we'll get to those in later chapters. But I just want you to know the actus reus is the first part of crime. So once we get into later chapters, matter of fact, That was 3 and 4. So we get to 5 and 6, well, we get to 5. We start talking about mens rea. Then we get to 6. We start talking about parties of crime and vicarious liability. So by the time we get to 7, that's when we really start defining our first group of crimes. When we start saying we start actually looking at groups of crimes and determining what, anytime we look at crimes, I want you to ask 2 questions. What's the actus reus, and what's the mens rea? All right, so I want you to always ask those 2 questions when we get into the book and we start learning new crimes or definitions of new crimes. So you'll learn to recognize what the actus reus and mens rea is as soon as you look at it, essentially by looking at the definition. So that's pretty much it for chapter 3 and chapter 4. My bad, tangled up. That's it for chapter 3 and chapter 4. Now for this week, now of course, on the 10th, that's when chapter 5 lecture is going to be posted. Also, the first writing assignment will be posted. So it will be posted on the 10th. The 10th is, so unlike my other classes, I didn't design it where it would come up the very next day. This is the first class I planned, so I wasn't planning. I wasn't thinking when I did that. So the 10th is Thursday. So on Thursday morning at 7 a.m., the chapter 5 lecture will be up. So you need to read for chapter 5 and then look at the lecture as well. And then also the first writing assignment will be posted as well. So it should come up as an announcement. So of course that first writing assignment is going to be a writing prompt. It's an essay. So it's going to give you a fact hypothetical and a question. You answer it. And it is stuff we've already learned. So I'm not out here, surprising y'all with stuff we haven't gone over. So you'll have a week to get that to me, and it'll need to be 2 pages, typewritten, double space, two pages, double space, 12-point font. So you need to type that out. Of course, put your name on it and tick. So I teach multiple classes where I have papers. So I need you to put your name on it, of course, and also the class. So, of course, you're going to be submitting that to me via email. I would prefer some of you guys use the Google Doc or the Google word processing. I would prefer you send it to me as a Word document in Microsoft Word. So please use Word. Does anybody not have Microsoft or Word? Does anybody not have it?
Okay.
So it looks like everybody does have Microsoft Word, but I would prefer you submit that to me as a Word document. That way I can go in and I can not make changes, but I can go in with my red writing and give you the grade and show you and kind of mark off what you did wrong and what you did right there. And then email it instead of, of course, I don't feel like having to scan it and email it to you. I can send it back to you. I can save it as a PDF and send it directly back to you as a graded document. So that'll make it way easier to do it that way. Let me let this person sign in real quick. Mr. Williams, how you doing?
Great. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I was just telling the class that that Thursday morning, the chapter 5 lecture will be up, and of course that means you have chapter 5 as your assigned reading that we'll talk about next week on our Zoom. But also the first writing assignment will be posted. It should come up as It should come up as a what do you call it? Not assignment, but a announcement. So it'll come up as an announcement. It'll be in the announcements. And you have to answer it it has to be 2 pages, 12-point font, double spaced. And I need your name on it. I need you to put the class on it, the class you're doing. So this is criminal law, CRJS312, right? So I need you to put that on there so I'll know. So once I grade it, and there's somebody else coming in, so I'm gonna have to repeat myself. Sorry, y'all. Ms. McFadden.
Yes.
Hey, I was just telling the class, Thursday The 10th, you guys are going to get the Chapter 5 lecture posted. And also after that, the first writing assignment is going to be posted. It's going to be due the following week via email. So you'll have until September 17th at 11:59 p.m. So that'll give you exactly a week. So it's a regular. It's nothing special about it. It's a regular essay where you have to apply what I've taught you to answer a question. So you just have to, it has to be 2 pages, 12-point font and double spaced. I need you to put your name on it and the class, criminal law, CRJS312, and email it to me, to my bjboyce@ncat.edu email address, no later than the 17th at midnight. I mean, at 11:59 p.m. So do that, and I'll grade it. Now I want you guys to send them to me as a Word document. Please don't send PDFs, and please don't send the the word processor for Google. Try to use the Microsoft Word if you have it. So if there's anyone that doesn't have it, let me know. But if you have Microsoft Word, please send it to me as a Word document so I can go in and grade it and adjust it. And I of course I use my red font and stuff like that, so I can it's me scratching stuff out, marking stuff out, and putting grades in. So this is a good time to go back to my lecture on writing, my writing workshop. Also, how I grade as well. I posted my rubric, and I posted a brief lecture on how I grade. Does anyone have questions right now about writing for me?
I have a question actually.
Mm-hmm.
So if we submit our paper like early enough for you to like give us feedback, are you willing to do that, or is it just like you submit it and you're gonna grade it and that's that?
Yeah, once you submit it, I grade it, but I'll take it early. Once you submit it, that's it.
So you won't be giving us like feedback if we send it to you before we submit it?
No, I won't. So what'll happen? Like, let's say even if you don't do as well as you would like to do, there will be extra credit opportunities. Are you interested in law school?
Yes, I am.
So that means you need to get feedback. So what I'll do, if you send it to me early, the grade is going to be the grade, but there'll be at least another extra opportunity outside of the second writing assignment. I'll probably closer to the end of the semester. I'll assign a extra credit writing assignment. Just so you guys that are interested in law school, for one, writing essays is very important in law school. Matter of fact, some of your exams in law school, that's what they're going to be. They're going to be essays. Not going to be any multiple choice, just essay questions. Matter of fact, so the bar exam, once you get to the point where you take that, there's a day where it's just multiple choice questions, and then there's the second day is all, at least in North Carolina, it's all essays. So writing is very important, how you write. So what I taught you in the legal, I always say legal writing, but what I taught you in the persuasive essay writing workshop or the lecture that I posted, that's going to be very important. That's like the building blocks for how to be a good persuasive essay writer or legal essay writer. So when I talk to IRAC and CRAC formats, that's very important. That's like what I expect in your writing. So with legal writing or persuasive essay writing, it's supposed to be predictable. You're supposed to tell me what you think, then tell me why you think it, and then tell me what you think again. And I know a lot of people are like, oh man, that's boring. It's not literary. It's not poetry. You're trying to prove a point, and in proving a point, you have to be sometimes a little redundant. And you have to be predictable. So it's not about surprising someone or your writing being pretty. Of course, it needs to be grammatically correct, and then of course you need to have smooth transition sentences. I don't like when people do bullet points, like they'll put. Especially when they do bullet points and they're wrong. So they'll say issue in a bullet point and then right under it. And they're doing that to save space, to kind of create space so they can get their 2 pages. You should be able to do my essays with 2 pages just because. Like I literally pick essays that it should take you 2 pages to write. So some people are trying to rush through it. So if you don't have 2 pages, that means you probably ain't talked about what you're supposed to talk about as deeply as you're supposed to talk about it. But so a lot of people put issue as a bullet point, and then under it, they don't even give me an issue. They just start writing, and then they'll put rule and don't even say the rule. So it's like you just did that because I told you issue, rule, analysis, conclusion, but you didn't give me an issue statement. You didn't state the rule you were applying to answer the question. You didn't apply the rule in the analysis portion to the facts, so you didn't give me the pertinent facts that apply to the rule. And then you didn't even, I mean, in most writing, I at least get a conclusion. But I sometimes people they bullet point it thinking that's going to count, but I'm still looking for issue statements. So I prefer don't bullet point anything. As a matter of fact, I'll get mad and count off if you bullet point. I want an issue statement in a beginning paragraph or regular. So write regular paragraphs, indent, move to the next paragraph. When it's time to talk about the rule, talk about the rule, and you may need 2 paragraphs if it's a thick rule. But then move on to the next part where now you start to analyze, and that's where you start to apply the rules that I gave you in that hypothetical, and only in that hypothetical. So if it's not within the 4 walls of that 4 corners of that page, you don't include it. It's all I gave you what you needed. So you go through, you talk about the pertinent facts, and you apply the rule to the pertinent facts, and then you end by saying in conclusion, comma, ... and you tell me what your answer is. That's if you do issue writing. If you do contention writing, instead of opening up with the issue statement, which is the issue is whether, you would open up with the contention. So this person is guilty of murder. And then, you might have a couple more filler sentences. This person is guilty of murder because blah, 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 blah. The rule of murder in North Carolina is, or the law of murder, the law in North Carolina defines murder as, and that's where you state your rule. You essentially state the law you're applying and you define it. So you define the law. And once you define the law, and you can talk about the standards, that every element of the law, and then you move on from there and you say, well, in the present case, because Johnny was hiding behind the bushes, that means he was lying in wait. So that is indicative of premeditation and deliberation. Then he jumped from behind the bushes and stabbed the person, causing their death. And in North Carolina, a person's dead when this or that, and of course his actions caused the death. So he would be guilty of murder. So in conclusion, Johnny is guilty of murder. That's essentially how you write in a CRAC. In an IRAC, you just be writing the issue is whether or not Johnny is guilty of murder. Then then you state the rule, and then you analyze and conclude. So that's how it goes. So it's regular writing. It's not writing that requires bullet points, all that stuff. Just write an essay. Indent your paragraphs. 1 paragraph. Then you move to the next paragraph. Indent. You don't need to give me bullet points to tell me where you are. I know where you are because if it's you start the paper with an issue statement, that's the issue. If you start a paper by telling me what your answer is or your contention, that I know that's contention. So if you see me write C or I at the top of the page, and then I move down, I write an R, that means I'm recognizing what your contention or what your issue statement is. Then I'm recognizing what your rule statement is. I'm recognizing your analysis portion of the paper, which usually your analysis portion is usually the longest. So normally you're writing your sometimes your issue statement your issue paragraph where you render your issue or your contention in that first sentence. And I need to know within the first 2 sentences of your writing, I need to know either what your issue statement is, or I need to know what your contention is. Please don't start your writing by telling me what I already told you. I created the hypothetical, right? So people try to use they try to fill the page because you guys want to get 2 pages so bad and you want to get it early that you jump in by reciting and pretty much copy and pasting or typing out what I've already given you. I know the facts. You open up by telling me what your issue is. The issue is whether, or what your contention is. This person is or isn't guilty or whatever. or this is constitutional, or it isn't constitutional, or I'm gonna I'm going to dismiss as a judge in the case. I'm going to dismiss the case, or this and that. What you give me your contention. I need to know. I need to either see an issue statement or a contention statement within the first 2 sentences of your writing. So I want to, when I see that, I know where we're going. Then from there, I'm going to keep reading, and probably after the first 2 or 3 sentences, then you move to the next paragraph, and that next block of writing or paragraph needs to be all about your rule or the rule of law you're applying. So if it's a case, if it's about murder, I need you to tell me what I need you to define what a murder is in the jurisdiction, whatever jurisdiction I put you in. If it's a question of constitutionality, I need you to state the test that we're applying to determine constitutionality and why. So if it's an equal protection analysis, remember we talked about that whole thing a few sessions ago, where we talked about the equal protection analysis, making sure does the law classify? If it does classify, on what basis? And if it classifies on this basis, what test do we apply? What is the verbiage of the test? That right there is like 7 or 8 sentences. So just giving me the rule in certain situations is going to give you a thick enough paragraph to get you through and get you 2 pages. And then you haven't even got to the analysis portion yet. In the analysis portion, that's when you, if you are going to regurgitate the facts and type out the facts that I gave you, you do it in the analysis portion, because the analysis is where now you're merging the facts that I gave you, and you're applying the rule of law to say, how does the rule of law that I've chosen to apply, how does it apply to these facts? So if I think this law is unconstitutional, then when I apply the rule, the equal protection analysis, or whatever the rule of law I'm applying to determine constitutionality, how does it apply to these facts? So how do I now determine, that means you have to talk about specific things in the facts to say, well, because the law classifies based on this, because this law says we're doing this because people are this, because it does classify as a classification based on race or based on sex, we're going to apply this constitutional test. This constitutional test says that the law must be substantially related to an important government interest. What's that mean? So then you start talking about why it's substantially related, and why or why not the interest is important. And then at the end, so once you do that, if you think about all that stuff when you're plugging in facts and talking about each fact that goes with the case, that right there in the analysis portion, by the time you get to the conclusion, which is essentially pretty much just a contention paragraph where you say what your final answer is and why, just briefly why, because it's unconstitutional, because it doesn't fit the equal protection analysis when we apply a rational basis or intermediate scrutiny. And so by the time you do all that, you will have 2 pages. You won't try to have to bullet point stuff and cheat me. I see that stuff. So was I kind of clear with what I just said? Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So the writing assignment will be up Thursday. It'll be up Thursday. Somebody's chatting. Aaron, did you send me that a while back or just now?
Yeah, that was like when you when
I switched over.
early. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I had to get on my 5G. So that's the writing assignment. So take this time. You only got 1 chapter to go over this week. Also look at my lectures on writing again, and look at my grading rubric, so you know how I grade. It's out of 10 points. You get 10 points. You get 2 points for turning it in on time. Another 2 points if you get the right answer. Then the last 6 points is all about your writing structure, and also whether or not you're in the ballpark. Because sometimes, some of these answers are like binary code. Either it's constitutional or it isn't. So you can guess and say it's unconstitutional. But then what the rule you apply and the rationale behind how you got your answer is totally wrong. So you can be right and get your 4 points get 2 points for turning it in, and get the right call, get the question correct. But then I'm also looking at how you wrote, whether you wrote in a recognizable IRAC or CRAC manner that I could follow, and then the last 3 points goes to whether or not you were in the ballpark. Did you apply the right rule? Did you know what we were talking about? So because sometimes you can guess and get a question right but still be wrong. So that's why turning it in is 2 points, and then getting it right is only 2 points. The rest of it is what I'm really grading you on is your writing structure. It's your writing structure and your and whether or not you get it. In other words, did you apply the right rationale or you're in the ballpark? So yeah, that's due the 17th. So chapter 5 it will be up Thursday, and the first writing assignment will also be up Thursday. They should both come out at about 7 a.m. on that Thursday morning, and the writing assignment will be due on the 17th. So we'll have a whole nother Zoom before the writing assignment is due. So we have another Zoom on the 14th, and then the writing assignment will be due that following Thursday. So yeah. So damn that in here. I just cussed. I'm sorry, y'all. Can't stand a gnat and a fly. But so I'll any other questions before I close out? I need to make sure I got some people that were added in later, so I need to make sure I count for them on the roll. Any questions before we roll out?
No, thank you.
Okay, let me go ahead and call names of the names I don't have already. Lanaya Bates, are you here? Lanaya Bates, nope. Kalandria Dodd. Jasmine Dudley. I thought I saw Jasmine Dudley.
Here.
All right. Ataya Harris. Lucina Hazel. Justice Hope. Caressa Johnson. Vaughn Johnson. Jalen Long. Shia McFadden. I thought I saw Miss McFadden check in. I don't know. I see you up there. LaStacia Miller. Elliot Moore.
Here.
Got you. Tatiana Philomar. Oh, I see a tire checking back in. Hold up. I got you, Miss Harris. You just checked back in. Miss Philomar's not here. Let's see. Parrish Rippey.
Here. I have a question.
Go ahead.
I was the only assignment that we have for the week is the writing assignment.
Yeah, and of course the reading. So I put the chapter 5. The chapter 5 lecture will be up Thursday morning, and the writing assignment should be up Thursday morning as well. So the chapter 5 the reading assignment and my lecture, it'll be up in the what's that part? The learning units, and then the writing assignment should come up as an announcement on Thursday morning.
Okay.
It should be an announcement, so it'll be up Thursday morning, and it'll be due the following Thursday before midnight. And so Naisha Ruffin.
Here.
Serenity Sanders. Jasmine Smith. Jalen Thompson. Stacia Tyson. Jeremy Vick. Jaden Williams.
Here.
All right. And Zaria Woodford. Okay, if I didn't call your name, that means I had you when the people that signed in early. Anybody I didn't call their name at all. I want to make sure the role hadn't changed.
Did you call Bria Pearson?
Bria Pearson, I think I got you earlier when you signed in earlier.
Did you get a Diva Brown?
Adiva Brown, I got you earlier when you signed in as well.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody good?
Did you get Tiki Brown?
Tiki Brown, I got you as well. I saw you when you signed it when I let you in.
Do you have a Taya Harris?
I do. I just got you. I saw you when you signed back in. Everybody good?
Yes, I don't know if you got me because my phone keeps going in and out.
I got you, Miss Ribeiro. I got you.
Okay.
All right. So I think everybody's accounted for that was here tonight. Of course, you know I'm going to post this. I record all the Zoom sessions, so this will be posted immediately. Give me about 20 minutes because it has to load to YouTube. So if there's anything you missed or want to see, I know some people came in later. You're going in and out. I'll post it for you guys. All right. So remember what y'all got to do this week. The chapter 5, read chapter 5. Look in my lecture. Then you got a writing assignment as well. That'll be due the 17th. All right. And then we got a Zoom next Monday as usual. Okay. So
Okay, thank you.
Everybody be good. Y'all take care.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
Thank you.
No doubt.